1, 2.
Yeah. You okay? Whatever. Can I do this? I'll take it off. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get started. I think we've got most of the folks in the room. Well, welcome to the Story Arts Center for any of you who are visiting us this evening and are not students here. And of course, to all of our wonderful students, thank you for coming this evening and supporting this exciting event. Welcome to Beyond the Handle. And before we get going, I wanted to say hello again and officially welcome you warmly to our space. I'm Laura Kittner. I'm the Associate Dean here at the Story Arts Center for the School of Media and Creative Arts. We're so happy to have the best school. Hey, Jennifer. We're so happy to have you here tonight for this important event that has been, it must be said, completely built by students. So everything that you're experiencing when you walk in, the music you're hearing, the wonderful silent auction, the smiling faces that are greeting you, the cameras that are recording and snapping all the footage tonight are all the work of our incredible students here at the college. Especially so I want to give a big shout out to the Lifestyle Media Content Creation students and program. This event this evening is brought to you by the Lifestyle Media Content Creation students. And I understand that we also have some alumni of this program, some graduates of the program in the room. Do we? I feel like this is, hey, congratulations. Oh my gosh, there are many of you. Welcome back. So happy to have all of you. I also, again, just wanted to give a shout out to students and particularly our broadcasting students. So all of the folks that you see arming all of the cameras, the photos that are being taken are our incredible broadcasting students, and I think are a mix of our third and second year students, supported by the wonderful faculty. I will give a shout out to Rohan in the back. Thank you, Rohan, for being here and leading the team. And finally, but before we get started, as I'm acknowledging all of our incredible students and the work that they do and the stories that they tell, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge two incredible faculty members that have also been a big part of steering this and ensuring that it happened tonight and being support systems for you, our students. That is Professor Michael Countryman. I don't know if Michael is in the room in this moment. He is in the room in this moment. Again, professor and program coordinator of the Lifestyle Media Content Creation Program, and Professor Rachel Node. Again, anyone in Lifestyle Media knows Rachel, and has, you know, Rachel has been a steadfast leader of this program, goes above and beyond for her students because she loves you and is so passionate in ensuring that you succeed and get to where you want to go in this program. You'll hear from Rachel because she's leading our panel this evening. So without further ado, please settle in, enjoy the evening. Welcome again to our beautiful space, and we're going to kick it off with Beyond the Panel.
Queen Boo, who are you?
I wouldn't sleep with a guy, and then he broke up with me.
So I actually met this guy at my gym.
Provolone blanket, little basil oil.
Can I have some?
No.
Only Earl Grey and spicy chai today, honey. That's all I'm serving.
Join me on set today for W Network's movie date and see how it all goes down.
And he asked me out on a date.
Turkey.
I'm Daniel Pillay, President and CEO of Langton PR.
What do you think you're doing without my permission?
Like, damn, Mr. Man is gonna be blown away when he sees me. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm in the car, car's on, heat's on, freezing.
And if you don't know me, I am the Queen Bee, honey.
He went behind my back and was applying to be on The Bachelor while we were together.
Here's the final date makeup look.
I gotta give it a score. It's a 5.8, 6 on a good day.
Just sipping on my champagne.
There was really no option.
I was also faced in another relationship where I had to choose a Peloton or dating him.
So I'm on a billboard. Yeah. Let's go see it together.
Who does this? Ooh, juicy. Okay, here we go.
I do love Myth on King Street. I love Greek food.
If you need IVF one day, I'm not paying for it. That was the kicker for me.
Obviously, I'm bringing you guys with me. Like, this is literally insane. What is my life?
Wow, that is very good.
Very demure, very mindful.
My face was like burning, and then all of a sudden I just started crying.
This is the outfit. Skims bodysuit, frames from Shein, and let's go.
Space is interesting. Like, inside it feels like I'm ordering a cheeseburger in someone's living room accidentally.
Emotional damage, fixed. Trauma, fixed. Stress, healed.
I can't believe how financially irresponsible you are.
I love love my friends.
This burger today is a solid 9. That's a 9 out of 10 burger. Have a good one.
If you asked me that years ago, I sincerely would say, oh, I would never be open to that. Like, I would never do that. And now here's 4 years later, I'm like, in a whole other position in my business, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It was insane. Just want to thank each and every single one of you that have made this my life. I love you guys.
We're here to help you look good and feel good.
Gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our panelists this evening and Professor Rachel Node, who's our panel advisor. Welcome.
One second.
Okay, you
I wanna-
No, go.
It's like dancing.
We gotta shimmy. You gotta shimmy.
Okay.
I'll shimmy.
There we go.
There we go. Very good. All right.
Oh.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you all for coming. I want to start with some introductions. Right to my left, we have Chef Matt Basile. Matt is a renowned food content creator with all the ingredients for success. Not only did he create the food truck brand, Fidel Gastro's, ran a popular gastropub, Lisa Marie, but has also hosted the reality television show Rebel Without a Kitchen. Today, he's a best-selling cookbook author and appears on morning shows across the country, sharing his favorite recipes. Today, he's also co-founder of Alchemy Grills, where he's taking on a new frontier, disrupting the barbecue and live fire cooking landscape. Welcome, Chef Matt.
Yay! Thank you. It's so awkward because I'm right next to you. It's like, but anyways, yeah.
Welcome, Daniel Pillay. He's the president, CEO, owner, and queen bee of Langdon PR, named as one of PRNet's most influential figures in marketing and communications globally. Daniel is a media maverick and storyteller extraordinaire whose authenticity, diversity, and personal narrative brings a unique edge to Langdon PR's clients to create impactful campaigns that drive results. Whether it's securing high-profile media placements, launching viral social media campaigns, or producing engaging content, Daniel is your go-to partner for all your PR and digital marketing.
Wow.
Welcome, Daniel. Nicole Cervinas has spent over a decade captivating audiences across Canada as a dynamic television host, producer, and storyteller, specializing in lifestyle and entertainment news. She currently hosts Things to Know TO, a weekly series airing on CP24, CTV, and CTV2. It spotlights the city's must-see events, experiences, and stories. Behind the camera, Nicole produces and directs lifestyle and branded content for Chorus, entertainment specialty networks, including Home Network and Flavor Network, where she seamlessly blends editorial storytelling with brand partnership. Expanding into the world of digital media, Nicole is the creator and host of Mismatched, a podcast exploring modern love in all its forms. Izzy Santulli is a Toronto-based content creator and host of the podcast Not So Silent. She's grown an audience of over almost 1 million by sharing her love of beauty, lifestyle, and honest conversations online. Over the years, Izzy has collaborated with major brands like L'Oreal, Dove, and Glow Recipe, while staying true to her personal style and voice. She's passionate about showing others how to stand out online by building an authentic brand that reflects who they really are.
Hi, everybody. Oh, hi.
All right, Izzy, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Wow, this is happening in a big way.
Oh wow, we're getting right into it. Okay. Honestly, I started posting content kind of just like for fun. It was like a pastime for me. It was something that I was like looking forward to. And I always had like a love for skincare and makeup, and I had so much of it. And I'm like, okay, I used to see influencers like make a career out of like filming content, reviewing makeup, skincare, going on brand trips with all these huge brands. And I was like, okay, I need to do this right now. Like, I need to figure out a way to make this a career for myself. And I remember I was in school and I was like posting 3 times a day on TikTok. I was like very like consistent, very consistent. I was like, I'm going to post. I'm like, there's one day where I'm going to get recognized. I'm going to make it. And it's very different when I tell people this story because everyone is like, it just happened for me. But I knew like, no, this is happening. Like, I'm going to make it happen. And one day it did. I posted my first silent review, which is like basically a review that's silent. I'm just like reviewing a product with my facial expressions, and it blew up out of nowhere. And my career just took off for me. I started getting like 10,000 followers a day on TikTok. And that's when I knew I was like, okay, well, brands were also reaching out. And I was like, okay, this is insane. I guess it's happening now. But yeah.
And the billboard in Dundas Square.
Oh, yes. I've also been on 2 billboards now in Dundas Square, which is literally insane to say. Like, what the heck? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a big moment.
Yeah, it was definitely like more of like like when I knew it was happening, I was like, okay, cool, like whatever. But then when I went in to see it, I was like, whoa, like that's like my actual face on a billboard. Like, what the heck? And I remember the first time just like crying. I went with my parents. My friend Jacqueline was there as well. Like, all of my friends were there to support me. And I was just like, whoa, like this is like a moment. That was definitely a huge moment for me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, Daniel, this one's for you. As we've seen the shift from broadcast and print to more social media and digital content creation, how has that changed for you in the world of lifestyle PR?
Well, you don't get a break. I'm gonna have to hold it. Is it better?
Check. Is it working?
Test it. No, I don't think so. No.
Check. Oh, mine's on. Did you want
Now we're on? Oh, now we're testing. Test. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, I mean, it's social media is an everyday sort of thing, you know, like, I mean, I'm not that old, but when magazines were a thing, you'd pick up an issue. By the time you picked it up, it was dated information, right? So you have content coming every day. So I think the pressure in being working in PR is that your brands want to be visible every day. It's not just going to the next monthly issue. They want to be everywhere all the time, every day. So I think that's the main shift that I've seen. But then how do you handle that? I think there's how do people take care of themselves while they're trying to produce this content and stay relevant? I mean, that's a very pressuring word, but I think that's the biggest shift is how people are handling being in this space over consuming it, right? Because now we're consuming each other. We're all consuming these bios, you know, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. It's all consumption. But then how do you actually foster authentic relationships when you're doing that? Just like selling a product over just being on an ad, right? So I think that's been the biggest shift that I've noticed. And then trying to encourage your brands to take more of a genuine approach over just slapping somebody's face on something all the time. So I think that's the biggest shift I've seen, and just a constant dialogue around that.
Do you think it's easier to make more of that authentic connection than it was in the past, where we would be like, okay, buy this product on TV or like place an ad in a magazine? But now I feel like there's more of a storytelling angle now with social media.
I think it goes both ways. Like, now you have many more voices at the table. You've got Izzy, you've got Nicole, you've got Matt, you've got myself. We've got a lot of people. So you can foster that authenticity. You can find it, whereas previously you couldn't, or not as easily. But I think the problem is when there's so much of it out there, what's authentic and what's not? That's become the question, right? There's just so much coming at us. And, you know, the reality in being in Canada is the brands that you work for, they don't have trillions of dollars. You think they do because they're big brands, but they don't come to me with a lot of money. So I have to, I mean, you're not recording, are you? I don't want that to go anywhere. But like, they don't come to me with the budgets they go to in the US, right? So you've got to pack in a lot with a little, and then still develop genuine connections by doing that, because it's that authenticity that's going to carry that brand forward, not that one piece of content, right? When that one piece of content does well, it's because that creator has that authentic connection and they have that pull with their audience. But there's like not one in a million, like one in every 15 creators have that type of community. So I think it goes both ways. You just have to stay present, be yourself, stay hydrated, and it's all fine. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, this one's for you. Talking about career shifts. You moved from running a food brand and restaurant to being a content creator and entrepreneur. How did you translate your offline career to your online personal brand?
Yeah, great question. I think so. I started my career in this world 14 years ago. And if you were in the food business, a chef, typically back then, you were very guarded about what you were working on. You didn't typically show people behind the scenes. And I think I happened to be at the right place at the right time. There was a monumental shift happening, I think, in Toronto's food scene specifically. And at the time of that, we were seeing trendy events and people lining up for food. And, it was mostly Twitter and Facebook at the time, but social media allowed people to kind of have a glimpse behind the curtain. And I was like, what a great opportunity. No one knows who I am. I've never worked in restaurants before. I have no lineage. I have no experience. I have no real qualities that suggest I should be here. So I'm like, I'm just going to show people what I'm doing. And what it did was it allowed me to expedite a lot of things. And from just letting people in, I had a lot of incredible opportunities presented to me that I just kept showing. And for me, the social aspect of content hasn't always been the driver. It's been the passenger, right? So the career has been the driver. Whether it's been opening food trucks, restaurants, launching a product, and all the things. Social just allows me to kind of share that journey with people. And so over 14 years, just like me, the human, I've evolved, I've aged, I've changed, and so has the way I tell stories.
Awesome.
That was a nice little soundbite, huh?
Good job. Good job. Nicole, you've also pivoted your career and have recently sort of entered the new media with your podcast, Mismatched. And we've talked about doing a podcast, how you're doing yours and how it's so different from your life on TV, because you can truly be yourself on your podcast and sort of say what you want. But with you, you're also a well-known media personality. So how do you choose what parts of real life you're going to bring to Mismatched in your online identity and which parts maybe keep quiet?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I wouldn't say well known. That's very generous, Rachel. It's not. I'm just there. I'm there. But having said that, like you said, in broadcast media, traditionally, as a reporter, you don't really get a say in how you necessarily tell stories or ask questions because you are there to serve someone else's story. You are kind of the means to bridging the gap so that the audience can hear someone else's story. So it's not about you. And to be honest, that's the reason why I got into TV, because I enjoyed telling other people's stories. And while, with times shifting and people just kind of ingesting content very differently these days, I was like, you know what? Like, I find myself watching less TV. Why should be doing what I'm listening to or what I'm watching and what I'm ingesting? And what does that look like? That's like podcast for me. And in the podcast space, at the beginning, to be honest, the thought of it made me sick a bit because I was like, oh God, I have to talk about myself? For how long do I have to talk about myself for? And like, people want to hear what I have to say. Like, that seems ludicrous to me. But apparently they do. And so it's been really interesting to be able to share personal experiences and stories at the same time, in telling other people's, because I do have guests. I mostly have guests on my podcast. But it's learning to be vulnerable in front of other people that has been like the biggest kind of challenge and eye-opening experience, with a lot of tears. I cry so much more than I thought that I would in public, which is wild. But it's like there's a liberation that comes with that too. And I feel like I'm at a place in my life where I feel really confident in who I am. So I'm willing to kind of share that. And that's how I kind of make the choice, Rachel, to like share things or not share things. Often what I talk about on my podcast are moments and stories that are in the past, meaning like they've kind of gone through a filter, I've healed from it, I come at it from a different perspective, rather than kind of talking about maybe what I'm going through right now, so that it's a little less gossipy and a little more reflective in how I like share my story and my life with other people.
Right. Izzy, I feel like I know you.
Okay.
Although, we haven't really met, like today, kind of, but because you do put your life on social media, and I feel like you do it in a very unique, authentic way. When you first started posting, because some people have sort of like two identities, right? They have like their real life and then they have their online self. And sometimes those things don't match. So when you were first deciding how to post or what to post, did you have a certain like aesthetic in mind or a certain tone in mind, or did you just go for it?
Okay, that's a cool question. I feel like going into it, I was very much like following the influencer rule book. Like there's a certain tone that they're like, hi guys, like it's very, if you know that tone, you know that tone. And so I was kind of following the influencer rule book. I'm like, okay, you show the products like this to the screen for 3 seconds and then you pull it back. It's very like, this is what they all do. It's clearly working for them. Let me try it. So I was doing that for a few months and I was just like, okay, this is boring. Like, who wants to be like, okay, hi, like this is like this product. I really like it. Like, it's just like, for me, it's boring. I'm like, I want something new. And I feel like that's why I was like, okay, like my personality is just naturally, I'm just like a silly, goofy person. I'm loud, I'm outgoing. And I remember I made my first ever silent review video and it was supposed to just go to my friends. Like I was literally not going to post it because I'm like, this is so cringy. And like, this is me being so out there that the internet cannot see this. Like they cannot see this. And my friends were like, just post it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? And that's the video that I posted, being my most raw, authentic self. And that did numbers. All my other videos where I was following the influencer rule book, nothing, until I was like showcasing my true, authentic self, where I was like, oh, wait, okay, people are liking me right now. Like, this is so cool. And then from there, I like kind of was like, okay, it's okay to be myself online and people are really enjoying it. And then from there, I scrapped the influencer rule book. I'm like, okay, fuck, can I swear?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
I'm like,
my rules that it is now. But
okay, great. I'm like, fuck this. And I just kind of started doing whatever I wanted to do because I started to learn that like people are watching me because of my personality and how I am. And that's kind of like what makes me me. And I'm like, I'm not going to hide myself from what everyone else is doing because sometimes it's just not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And so did that help you stick with it as you grew and you saw the numbers grow?
Yeah, for sure. I saw the numbers growing as I started just kind of letting loose more. And I stopped being afraid of showing myself so much. And I was like I said, I was like, people are watching me because I'm me authentically. I'm not trying to be like every other content creator out there. I'm not trying to be like this person, even though I'm getting inspo from people. Like there's so many creators where I'm like, love her content. I want to take inspiration out of it. But I always spin it in a way that is showing my personality. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Amazing. Daniel, on the other side of it, I should say, when you're looking at content creators to partner with for your clients, because you rep a lot of lifestyle brands, what are the foundational elements that you believe are most important when you're telling or advising your client to be like, hey, you should do a campaign with this person? Like, is it their voice? Is it their consistency? Is it their values? Is it all of the above?
It really is everything. It's a mix of everything. And we spend a lot of time coming up with those lists too. And I think a lot of people feel that sometimes the PR agencies are the ones that are leading that conversation. It really is a collaboration between the client and the agency. They'll brief us, they'll tell us what they're looking for, and then we can advise them based on that. For me, for instance, OPI press-on nails, I'm not going to give it to somebody who does gel acrylic nails at the salon. They're just never going to use it, right? You want to work with somebody who's going to eventually use this product or it's going to fit into their lifestyle. So that's the first thing. Then we want to see what their approach is to their content. Are they being authentic? Are they being themselves? Do we think this product is going to show up in a natural way, or will it come out in a very forced capacity, And it is a conversation when you work with creators. As much as I might tell Izzy what I'm looking for, we want her to come back and say, okay, this is how I think it's going to fit into my content, and this is what I think my people are going to like. And that's the conversation we're looking for. So I think it's a number of different factors. I deal with mostly CPG brands, so it's a product. We're always promoting a product. But, there's an audience for everything. Cat AI videos have an audience these days. I'm part of that.
I just watched it today.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with those storylines. But truly is an audience for everything. So we can carve out a niche. We can always find a path and make something work. You just want the right creator, and the right brand will always be a strong collaboration, and you will always see results from that. So I just think it's, it's all of the above. Yeah.
Good.
I know. Do you guys watch Cat AI?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's addictive. Yeah.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
Matt, I think you're one of the most authentic people I've seen online. Like, I feel like I know you like Izzy because I've just been following you for so many years. I'm like, yeah, it's Chef Matt Basile, although I've never even met him. We're best friends.
We are best friends. No, believe in it. We are best friends.
Just believe it. What challenges did you face when presenting your real self online, as opposed to the polished TV chef persona that we've all seen? So remember, like, what was the guy's name? But it was like in the 90s, and he was like, bam! Like,
Yeah,
he was, like, so
Admiral,
gimmicky.
he was the man. He was gimmicky, but someone has to, like, I have no doubt that that's who he actually is too, right? Like, I think he's a walking, talking gimmick. And what's interesting is I can't tell you how many TV chefs who are like going to season a pot have accidentally said "bam" because they're like, oh my god, he's the one that that paved the way. And I think what's for me specifically, you have to understand, I got thrown a TV show within the first 5 months of starting my career. Yeah, it was wild. I was like, what are you guys doing? Are you sure about this? And so I was like working all the time. I was actually, the show wasn't the job. Running a food truck was the job, right? So I was never sleeping. There was always a camera in my face. So when you're kind of just ebbing and flowing, you tend to go to a default version of yourself. And diners, drive-ins, and dives was a big TV phenomenon at the time in the food space. So it was really easy to tap into things that people were familiar with. Hey, everybody, today I'm going to eat a burger. Is a burger great? And then I'm like, I don't fucking sound like that. Like, what am I doing? And so and then when you're doing TV, there's so many other people invested in the polished package that it's really not for you. It's for everyone else but you, really. So, and I say that loving doing TV now, because I always talk about how I feel like I wish this version of me was doing the TV I was doing in abundance back then, because now I'm old enough to be like, no, I'm not going to say that. That's the dumbest thing on the planet. Like, what? People don't talk like that. And I'm a true believer in really asking yourself that question, like, do humans talk this way? No. And if it doesn't sound like how a human would converse with you, then chances are it's not legitimate, and people can really smell bullshit now more than anything. So, bring it to present day. It's like, yeah, you know what? You might not like what I have to say, or you might love what I have to say, but this is the version of me you're going to get. And I think when you've been doing it for now as long as I have been, people are more willing to be like, yeah, just let him do his thing, whatever. He'll give us the things that we need, and then the other 15-20% is just Matt being Matt.
Good.
Yeah, is it good?
That's good.
Okay.
All right.
Check mark.
A+.
A+. We're in a school.
Nicole, you're new to the podcast space. I want to ask you, because I know it's a lot of work, and it's like a passion project. What's the most rewarding thing about creating Mismatched, and what is the biggest challenge?
Yeah. Just to go off of what you just said, when I produce and direct shoots, I actually tell talent, take this and put it in your own words and make it your own. And every client, and I think, Dan, you can agree with me in saying this, they prefer that now more than ever than the, perfect language. I'm like, the more imperfectly perfect you can be, the better anything sells. And I'm sure you can speak to that as well. So anyway, sorry, just side
Well, I
note.
feel like there's a shift happening
Yeah,
in that direction.
most
because
definitely.
I would often be given you love our stuff.
Yeah.
Here are your words. And it's like, I wouldn't say this. What are you talking about?
Right.
So, yeah, I agree.
Because people can see it. So sorry.
No.
I digress. One more time, Rachel.
You're new to the podcast space.
Yes, I remember that.
What's the most rewarding part about doing Mismatched, and what are some of the biggest challenges? Because I feel like everybody's, might be looking to hop on the bandwagon. We're like, I can have a podcast, but then let's talk about the realities of having a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. Every time that Rachel comes on the show, we're like, okay, what happened this week? What was the problem with the edit this week? Well, what did you go through that I, can learn from, and vice versa? But I think we'll start with the positive. I like to be optimistic. The best part about doing this podcast has definitely been the response of people coming and saying, I didn't know that about you. Like I went through something like that as well, like through shared experiences, or even I learned something. Like that was my biggest thing with this podcast. As much as it's like me sharing things, I want there to always be a takeaway for someone who is listening, whether you learn something new or about what we're talking about, or maybe even about yourself that you like question, or maybe look inward and think about a little bit deeper. And in addition to that, the tough part is that I am a one-woman show. So what does that mean? That means I am like chasing guests, booking guests, locking in the studio, making that time, doing research, doing questions, then editing the footage to make the actual YouTube. But then that's not enough. Because you have to upload it in 17 different formats and ways. So then I create all the reels from that promote the pod throughout the week. And then it airs on like Spotify, and then it airs on SiriusXM as well. So there's a whole different process to send the footage there, because certain things I can include and certain things I can't in my raw edit. So there's that. And then there's all the branding, and I have done like all the branding myself in terms of like design, layout, format, all of it. So it definitely has been some late nights and super early mornings, but yeah, like I said, when someone comes up and says, that was really touching, or like I learned something about myself in watching this, or I looked into this more, that's like the greatest reward in all of the work, for sure.
Good. Izzy, you have an impressive TikTok and Instagram career, and others as well, like your podcast and YouTube and the whole thing. You're most well known as being a beauty and makeup content creator. But lately, I've noticed that you've started a new series to do mukbangs. And I want to know a few things.
Okay.
Why? Why start a whole new series that is totally separate from what you're sort of best known as? Sort of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's called a mukbang channel.
What is that?
It's like it's like you're eating the food silently, and like it's like the chewing ASMR sounds.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
that's great. Really brave.
Makeup that doesn't come off when you eat? Like, is that?
Oh my God, you should.
Wait. That's actually pretty good.
The only one here that's not this. Like,
I'd love to know what people are eating all the time, every day. I like that part. For me, I'm one of those people who can't stand chewing sounds. Like my husband's in the audience, he ate a banana next to me once, and it almost ended our marriage. Like I can't.
bananas are pretty silent. Like,
No,
it's
they're
not even-
not.
Yeah.
Squishy and bleh. But anyway,
I
so
love them. I love them.
why start the mukbang series? And maybe is it a part of your growth? Was it strategy? Was it just something that you just wanted to try?
Because why not? I personally love watching those videos. Like, I don't know why, but when I'm scrolling on TikTok, like that's the time when I'm starving and about to go to bed, when like people are eating like the best food, like Taco Bell and McDonald's, and I'm like, great, because now I'm starving. So that's when I would like watch all those videos, and to me it's like so satisfying, like hearing the chewing sounds. I don't know, I'm weird. I like hearing that stuff. And I was just like, why not like try it? Like I already have such a great following on like my main channel, and I'm like, to me it's not even trying to build like another thing. It's like, why not? Like it's kind of for fun. And I remember doing, I don't know what my first one was. I think I did a Taco Bell one, and it like blew up, and I was like, here we go, another channel. But like that channel to me is like more like just like free and like fun. I don't eat like Taco Bell every day. But it's like whenever I do want to treat myself, I'm like, okay, I can like film it, and it's like something for fun more than like a strategy or like trying to build another platform or channel, for me at least. Yeah.
And are you going to eat the food?
Oh,
There's all these scandals about people who don't eat it.
Okay, so the scandals, people have been in my comments saying, oh, you're spitting it out, babe. Do you want to see like how my jeans fit after this meal? Like I'm eating every single piece of that food. I personally eat it, but I've heard the scandals where people like chew it and they pause the video and they spit it out. And I'm like, I could never waste food like that. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Daniel, in the era of influencers and creator culture, how do you differentiate between an online identity that builds meaningful influence and connections versus someone who's just chasing attention or chasing the numbers? Like, can you spot the fakers?
We have platforms to help us identify. There was a time where when, the space was evolving, from print and TV over to, creators online. We just didn't know who was buying bots, who was buying followers. There was that whole conversation. But it really isn't always about numbers anymore, right? Like my brands really enjoy authentically seeing people enjoy their product and then talk about it. Like they get so much pleasure out of it. Like my clients will just beam and they'll be like, oh, I love the way she spoke about the content. And then because they love the product so much, they talk about it like an extra 10 and 12 times, right? So you're getting a bang for your buck in those situations, right? Who wouldn't be happy? So I really think the creators who are creating communities are the ones that we're interested in. So many of them are putting together panels like this or getting their friends together and talking about empowerment. Like the brands are really starting to want to be part of communities over just a creator. So we are looking for those who have that influence and are curating that space and are driving conversation. That's what I think is more important than numbers right now. I think the numbers will come and go. But, conversation, authenticity will always stay. So I think if you focus on that, you'll always win. You'll always win. Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Matt,
Sure.
you tell stories through food, not just recipes. How important is storytelling in shaping an online identity? And what advice would you give creators who want to use storytelling to stand out?
Yeah, I think storytelling is really at the heart of what all of us on this panel are doing, right? It's just the book of storytelling just looks very different now. Even over year over year, it's constantly changing. We're having to tell the stories in shorter formats, faster because our attentions are so limited. And ultimately, if you have something good to say, people will want to listen to it. I think the word influencer gets used, I think, a little too liberally, because I've always looked at it in inverse. So, as a career, if you're an influencer, you're speaking about how brands can be used through a platform to influence consumer behavior, right? You want someone to buy something. That's ultimately what we think an influencer does. I do the exact opposite ultimately. I try to use storytelling to actually help influence how brands actually develop. And that for me is the best part about my job. So if you were to take my current career, which is Alchemy Grills. So I'm a co-founder in the company. It started off as a meeting because they needed someone to help them do recipe videos. And in my first meeting with the team, I realized very quickly that they were in the infancy of developing a barbecue and they had really limited knowledge around the food space. And I think I just came at it so passionately that I was offered equity in the company just for being able to be influential internally. And they were like, you're really going to help us, steer this ship in the right direction. And here we are 4 or 5 years later, and we're in like 5 different countries. We're available in, different kind of models. And I've done everything from working with engineers to manufacturers. I've traveled the world to be able to tell the story of live fire cooking. And all I ever really wanted to do was create my own barbecue. That's like the coolest thing ever. So, when you're able to change your motivations for what that story is, to Daniel's point, people will really want to engage with it often and they'll repeat engagement, right? So I had to literally, tell my team that we were going to do the exact opposite with the storytelling of what every other grill company was doing. Most of them are very feature benefit focused. So it feels like a car ad, but for barbecues. And I was like, no, we're going to do the exact opposite. We are going to not even show the whole product. We're going to be very audio focused. So we used ASMR as an opportunity to really get people to be like, oh, what's he cooking right now? And if you are staying through the entirety of a recipe video, that's like the best kind of ad on the planet, because who actually sticks around for the whole product placement ad, right? So, and then if they come back willingly to watch more content, now you actually have an audience for product advertising, which it shouldn't ever feel like that. You're just telling more stories. So ultimately, the best stories are the ones that you believe in.
Nicole, you often tell stories in the world of entertainment and wellness. So what role, similar to Matt's question about storytelling, what roles do storytelling and niche play into establishing their brand?
Yeah, to echo what everybody I think has been saying today, I think it's like coming at it from an authentic perspective and really like looking inwards to you. And I think asking yourself the question, why? Like, why am I doing this? Why would someone care? And kind of approach your content creation in that way, because it will shape the way that you tell your story when someone's asking you why are you wanting to share this? It's almost like a purpose that you like identify in like an essay, let's just say. It's like the same kind of question that you're asking yourself before you actually create. But and then I think once you do that really well, what Izzy was saying, then you kind of find your niche. Then you figure out like what works and what doesn't based on you kind of being yourself and trying this and trying that and seeing like what resonates. But at the end of the day, again, if you're like really true to yourself and the stories that you're telling, then the niche will come. Like, I don't think you have to worry about kind of identifying that and then leading with that sort of strategy for your content. It's like asking yourself the question first.
We live in like the era of like the uber niche right now too. Like
Yeah.
you never used to be able to tell such niche stories.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even like on Netflix, like they'll have a show just on tacos. Like you couldn't do that in food television
No.
14 years ago, 15 years ago. They'd be like, that's it, just tacos? Like,
Yeah.
what else are we going to talk about? But
That's
now
not
you
enough.
can't, right? That's not enough. But now you're like, all the tacos from all over the world. So niche is a very interesting word because we've never had access to so much niche.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say something because I get a lot of creators who reach out and they always want to know what could help me stand out. And you just have to be yourself. I think you are your own niche. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, like if someone's coming to your Instagram channel, it's because of you.
For sure.
Like the way you're chewing or the way you're asking questions and the way you're cooking and whatever I'm doing on a day, like they're coming to that. They're looking to see you navigate your life and you live your life and do your things. And that's ultimately the thread, right? Like, I mean, we never
Yes.
watched the Oprah Winfrey show for the guests that she had. It's always how she interacted with them and what she was interested in, and then her favorite things started to happen, right? It's always
That evolved
you.
though. That evolved, right?
Yeah.
Because Oprah became that eventually. But I think if you watch like early Oprah shows, it was all about the subject matter and the guest. And then it became very quickly, oh wait, she's the rock star
Yeah.
here.
And that was old TV though too,
was.
Matt, right? Like that was
That's
the
the
format.
transition
Like
we
even
talked about.
working at
There you go.
ET Canada,
Yeah.
where I was a
Yeah.
producer for about 5 years,
Yeah, you
that
were.
was like the thing. It was like, choose your vertical. What vertical are you? Or what
No,
niche are you?
verticals, yeah.
And it was like, oh, lifestyle, that's too broad. You can't do that. Like that's way too broad. You have to decide, are you fashion or are you beauty? You can't be both. And so, yeah, it's been so interesting. I think like social media has really changed that because there
Yeah.
are so many niches, but the niche now is leaning into yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as you're saying, and how you tell those stories rather than like a subject matter specifically.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah.
Izzy, when you're looking at doing collaborations, how do you ensure your online identity remains strong and not diluted when you partner with brands for sponsored content? Like, how do you sort of preserve your authentic self, but at the same time, let's be honest, they're paying money to be like, okay, talk about this smart water, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pretend like, I drink it every day when maybe you don't even like water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's part of the game. Like we do
Yeah.
it too on TV. Like,
That's a really good question. So I get a lot of brand deals with requirements saying like, okay, we want you to say, for example, that this serum helped heal your acne. And I'm just like, okay, but that's not what happened. Like that's not what happened. And I kind of like go in with like a different approach. Like maybe like I can use it for 3 weeks before I film, and then I can like let you know if I want to go ahead and accept this brand deal if it worked for me. If not, then I'm gonna pass. And even if they don't have requirements like that, I always give my own sort of like concept or script beforehand. And I'm like, okay, this is like kind of a rundown of what I'm thinking of saying in my video. And I kind of go through it in my head. I'm like, okay, like I want to keep it as, like you said, authentic as possible. So I like to throw in like some of my like, you know, like my authentic cues. And I'm like, this is like how I'm saying it. Like if from the brand side, like them reading my script is probably so funny because I'm like, this serum, for example, it feels so good on my skin. Like, hello. And like, that's just like how I am in my videos. HELLUR. But so on the brand side, they're probably like, this girl's literally insane. But so I do like my concepts and my scripts like that because that's just how I am organically. And usually all the brands are usually fine with it. Like they don't come back saying like, oh, like, can we fix this? They usually keep like the little like hellers or like the periods or like things like that. Because I think also on the brand side, they want it to be as authentic as possible. They don't want it to seem like an ad at the end of the day. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Daniel, from a PR perspective, what is your advice for budding content creators who may not have those contacts that they want or need to start posting lifestyle content that still might get the attention of like maybe some of your clients, but they're just starting out, so they don't know you yet?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. I think, you just have to be brave enough to message someone and ask for some of their time. Like I've had a lot of people reach out to me on LinkedIn or DMs. Sometimes they'll get into my filtered message, but I am reading the messages and I do. I'll voice note. I'm a big voice noter. So I'll voice note back because I know getting onto a call might be difficult, ask a couple of questions. I'll give them my time that way. But I think you just have to be comfortable in just taking that risk. It's like walking into a room and introducing yourself. It's nerve-wracking. Sometimes it's hard if you don't know who's watching and what they may be thinking of you. But if you take that risk, I think it could pay dividends. But at the same time, I don't think I want anybody to feel the pressure of having to know everyone or every agency and get on every list. Just keep creating the content. We will come to you. It will come to you if it's meant to. I know that's like so cliche these days, but it's true, the right brands will approach you. They'll work with you. They'll allow your authenticity. You just have to be consistent in what you're creating so that the brands see that there's value on this platform. I mean, if you're going to post, 5 months away from each piece of content, then there isn't enough regularity there. But I think if you stay true to yourself, it will happen. There's this, I forgot his name, but he would just do a get ready with me. A simple average Joe in front of the mirror, puts on a hat, puts on a pair of jeans, puts on I mean, he's hot too, so that helps. But it was an unedited video, less than 30 seconds, and he just did the same thing every day. And now he's getting fashion collaborations. People are sending him jeans and they're sending him on trips and stuff. And he was consistent. And then he just built an audience over time. You just have to do that, Being consistent is hard when there's so many things coming at you. Like, I don't take my coffee any one way. As long as it's caffeinated, it happens. But when there's consistency, you will see everything come to you. Mm-hmm. You just have to be okay with being patient. I know nobody wants that, but patience is a virtue. Yeah.
And I think it's almost like a good idea to like just start. If you want to be a content creator, you want to be a lifestyle content creator, just grab shit from your house, right? Like stuff that you'll actually use. Yeah. Because that's what you talk about most authentically. Yeah. If you actually use it and you actually love it, and then like you said, maybe then the brands will come to you. So you don't, like you said, you don't need a list of all the PR execs, right? You don't need that. But if you can really talk from a space from your heart, where you're like, you know what, I really love this. You know what, maybe this did help clear up my acne, or maybe this fixed my hair, or whatever it was. People will come.
And Daniel's right. It will come to you if you are like diligent about doing it that way. Like, you don't need to necessarily reach out and be the one always pitching. Like, it will come your way if you are consistent.
I was going to say, actually, a pitch does help from time to time.
It does. It does.
Rachel and I work consistently with each other because of that, right? Because this brain can only think as much as it can think. So then you get somebody who pitches themselves and it's like a fresh idea and you're like, oh my God,
That's
like
right.
that's gonna be perfect. You know, like we're gonna take this to this brand. Like we need the participation of the creator sometimes to get some ideas flowing. Because once you get into this corporate 9 to 5 and you're like, oh, it needs to be blue and white and green, you're just working within those confines that you lose that. So pitching yourself, being creative about how you want to put yourself out there really does help. It can stir a conversation, it could lead to something else, or you know, it might just lead to a fun collaboration. You never know. Yeah.
Nicole, if you wanted to give somebody advice to build a personal brand, because I know you're sort of in a special place because you are a media personality in the traditional sense on broadcast, but then you also, you know, do your own personal content creation. So is there a fine line between the two or that you have to walk would be like, okay, I'm going to stay on this line because, you know, it's going to be okay for like the professional, like media stuff, but then, you know, I'm still true to myself. Like, how do you walk that fine line or or you're just going to throw caution to the wind at this point?
That's a great question. You know what? It's tough, Rachel. And I think I asked myself this when I first started doing in front of the camera. So I started behind the camera as a producer before I was a reporter. And when I stepped into that reporter role, I very much thought to myself, how do I want people to know who I am? You know, like on TV and then online, because it should reflect the same thing, really. And when I ask myself that question, I think like, you know, what are the things that are important to me? What my family, my friends, my dog, you know, like I like to travel, I like to eat, like all those things are a part of what makes me me. And maybe I don't like I really wanted that to be a part of my personality, like on air as well. But don't get me wrong, like, you know, I'm going to go out on a Friday night. Maybe I've had a few too many, and I'll post the next day when I'm sober and clear-minded. But having said that, my caption's not going to be getting plastered with my gals. Like, you know, like I'm going to write something like last night with an emoji, you know, like you gotta be smart, because I think like if you want to be the same person, there is a filter of professionalism that needs to be online. And so because you're going to have, it's your resume, it's your online resume, whether you like it or not. It's the first thing anyone looks at when you type in your name on Google, which is what everybody does when you are applying for a job, when you meet someone new. That's like the first thing that people do. If you don't have, like, it's LinkedIn and then Instagram that comes up, or social media, or Facebook, or TikTok, whatever it is. But all those accounts will come up. So it should be reflective of you. But at the same time, you do want to be professional, because in a workplace, you need to ask yourself, like, do I want my boss to see this? Do I not want my boss to see this? So I try to be like my authentic self through a filter, of course, of like professionalism, because that is something that's important to me in my career. And, you know, even like asking myself questions like before I do a post, you know, what would myself in like 10 years think of this? Like when I will post something maybe opinionated or you know, talking about a subject that maybe is uncomfortable, or maybe if it's even a picture with like, I don't know, like something silly, you know, it's like, what am I going to think of this down the road? And I think that's what's given me that a bit of like consistent identity, where a lot of people, I think, who meet me or who's watch me on TV or see me online and then meet me in person, like, oh, like you're the same, like, because I think to a degree, like, you know, I'm myself, but at the same time, there's a professional lens for sure. That was like a really long
That's good.
answer. Thank you.
Matt, for budding food content creators, what are your 3 best tips for gaining trust with your followers and building your identity as a reputable chef online so they actually know that your stuff is good?
Sure. I think, I mean, the first one seems like a no-brainer, but be good at cooking. I think, like you're laughing, but I'm shocked at some of the stuff that I see out there. And maybe it's because I'm a chef. However, I will say I'm a self-taught chef. So I never went to culinary school. I learned by doing, and I think not enough food content creators actually do. So I would be doing content one day and you'd be like, oh, Matt was just in New York doing a thing. But then I'd be on the brunch line the next day because I opened my own restaurant. Like I had no problems putting myself in very vulnerable positions because I wanted to become a better chef. And I think a lot of food content creators, like but I make a great sauce. It's like, is it a great sauce? Like, because 3 people think it's a great sauce. Like, okay, sure, why not? Like, but then when you put them in scenarios where you actually have to cook, like frequently and consistently, and have people actually taste your food, that's where there's kind of a divide between the food creator content role and like being someone who loves being in front of the camera and sharing their skill set. And I think from there, it's like, what's your hook too, right? Like having a hook within that is also quite important. You'll see some people do very good job of showing like very traditional family recipes that have no real necessarily like creativity to it, but there's a nostalgic heritage to it. And then you have people that are always trying to invent dishes. I actually put myself in that bucket, right? Where it's like, how can I look at food as like a new creative outlet every single time that I'm putting something together? And I want someone to look at a recipe and go, that's a Matt recipe. Like that is 100% Matt's recipe. So that's always been my thing. Like, so what is your hook? And then 3, it's like, be prepared to get better all the time, because if your style is just plateaued right at the get-go, people are like, okay, like now what? You know, what else are you going to do? Like, how do you have longevity if you actually want to make this a career for yourself? Like, how are you going to be relevant? And we used the word relevancy earlier. It's very hard to be relevant for, 13, 14, 20 years. It's like you could do this for 6 months and it can pop off and then you'll disappear. You just quit your job. So like, now what, right? So being relevant over time, I think is incredibly important. And it goes back to the first couple things I said. So if you do want to get into being a food content creator specifically, find a way to also translate that to like real world experiences too. And not just like, when I say that, I mean like do like events, like be out there, cook for people, let someone try your food, meet you, the person, and then they'll come back to your content and be like, oh yeah, that's exactly the thing. Like, I really think that like there's a lot of virtuousness there, like where you can actually show people that not only do you like sharing food behind the camera, but you like sharing food to people to actually eat it, which is literally like the whole idea of food. Like, people can eat it.
Okay, this is fire round. Okay, whoever wants to answer it. What's more important? Views, followers, engagement? How do you measure success?
Engagement.
I'll tell you, it's engagement if you want a contract for sure. Like what the brands will choose on engagement.
Yeah.
Because that shows how much influence you have over the people following you. Yeah. So they'll look for that.
You were talking about community earlier, right? Like engagement is what builds communities. Like, there's no other way to do it.
It's the comments. Seeing that. You know, how many people are actually engaging with your content and writing something below it, whether they agree with you or not, honestly.
And definitely share
They
saves
agree
too.
with
Yeah.
Like, did you see that video of that guy that called prosciutto prosciutto? And like everyone's like, no, I swear to God, it's a real thing. And like he's like doing a recipe video and he's like, I love prosciutto. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
this motherfucker just called it prosciutto. And I'm like, what is going on? And if you read the comments, it's like 8,000 comments of people like me going, what's wrong with this guy? And it's like, pretty smart. He figured it out. Like, he created an engagement by butchering the word prosciutto.
Has anybody on this panel ever hit a plateau? And if so, how'd you get out of it?
Ooh.
Algorithms change all the time. I feel like that happens almost every week. It's like, oh, things are a little bit off lately. Maybe I do something. Maybe I pause for a second, recalibrate, try something new, because it changes all the time. Yeah. Right?
I find that like I just kind of have to like push through it, because like with me, like I'll get so like wrapped up in like, oh, like this video didn't perform well, am I doing something wrong? But it has nothing to do with you. It's literally the algorithm that you have no control over. So it's like you kind of, at least for me, I have to push through like, okay, stop looking at the numbers, like it doesn't matter, just keep doing what you're doing. And usually the week after it's like fine, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
When you don't think about it is when the content actually does the best. Like when you're just busy there trying to figure it all out, it's like you're not putting out the right energy. There I go.
Yeah.
Like energy and stuff. But oh my God, what was the question again?
Plateauing.
Yes. I just did for a second. But I think in PR it's always changing and we're always being challenged to keep up with the next trend. So if you're always agile, I think you can't really plateau. right? Sometimes it can get, if you just get into a tunnel of creating content, you can stay stuck there for a very long time. But if you just take it, by a week by week basis, I think it's good. There's always like, what's that whole apology trend?
Yeah.
That's gonna die out in like 2 days, and there'll be something
Yeah.
else. You just kind of hit it, have some fun. No,
You did a really good one.
Oh, you liked it, eh?
Yeah, that was good.
I think just be consistent with who you are and how you show up, and then it will find its way through whatever it is that you're doing. And then I don't think you'll hit that plateau.
I also think it's really dependent on what your content is reflecting. So for me, if my content is plateauing, it's because like my career is kind of plateauing. I'm like, okay, so you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like that's what my content is what I'm doing in my day to day. So I've often used the content as an opportunity to share next chapters, right? And the next chapter is really allowing people to say like, listen, my career is who I am. It's my identity, and it's constantly evolving. So the plateau, you kind of break through that by virtue of changing how your career or evolving your career. Like, and I refer, anyone here watch wrestling? Any wrestling fans? No, just me. Okay. Anyways, so I talk about this all the time. It's called the heel turn in wrestling, and heel turn is something I use when I'm doing speaking engagements about creating content, where it's like you have to look at the character that you think people want, and if you're just feeling very safe and secure, chances are you've overstayed your welcome, and it's time to reinvent yourself again. And you might not necessarily even like the new version, but you need to change it up. Otherwise, you'll just get stale, and you're going to be in a routine, and you're just on copy paste and repeating the same content over and over and over. So it's an opportunity to really not only look at the content you're putting out there, but also the work you're doing. And yeah.
Has anyone ever turned down a brand because you thought it wasn't a great fit for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest turn down I ever did was I turned down I'm not exaggerating, a 6-figure contract with Beyond Meat. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Because
Don't tell me what's in it. I eat it.
I turned it down for a few reasons. One, it would completely discredit the fact that I was launching a barbecue company at the exact same time. Two, I'm a big fan of vegetables. I love vegetables. I think vegetables can be very tasty. And I don't necessarily subscribe to plant-based proteins in that way, the same way I like vegetables. And three, I think everyone who knows me or doesn't know me would have called absolute bullshit on it. And even though the paycheck would have been phenomenal, I actually had to look at future paychecks and what it was going to do down the road. And I think it would have really changed a lot of my career trajectory, because it was just a number. And then literally a week later, Kim Kardashian got called out for not chewing the burger in the commercial. I was like, oh, that's spot on, because that would have been me. But anyways, that was the biggest turn down I ever did.
What'd you turn down, Izzy?
No, I thought it was a mukbang thing. Oh yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah.
That I just started. That hasn't taken off yet. I've turned down quite a few things, just like products that just don't align with whenever I get a brand deal, I'm like, okay, would I use this? If not, no. And that's just the simple answer to it, to be honest.
That's good.
For me, yeah.
I'll give a different perspective, because you'll end up with sometimes brands who want to work on a product and you're like, okay, this is not a good product. So I'm very honest, and thankfully they listen to me. I've never been in a position where I've had to promote something I didn't believe in. But I think for me, because I'm working for brands and working with them, it's never the brand, it's the people behind it, right? And I think if you approach content in that way too, there's always a brand manager managing that brand in all of Canada or all of North America, and it's how they see that brand and how they see it coming to their market that's going to help you create content with them. It's never just the product. So I'm grateful that I like the people I work with and for. I've heard some horror stories, but I think if you come in with that relationship perspective and it's not just selling something, I think you can see a lot of success that way. So I'm lucky that I haven't had that situation, but I think there's always relationship somewhere.
It's a gut check though, right?
Yeah.
Like you're kind of at a crossroads when you're presented with this.
Yeah.
Do I do it or do I not do it? And
Yeah.
the money sounds great, but then like what does it do? And to your point, the people definitely help. I think if there's good people behind it, it can not change your perspective, but it can help guide you in maybe a a way you didn't necessarily see it at first.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, maybe this is just me. I can't say all PR people are like if I was with Beyond Meat, I'd be like, okay, well, why? Like, tell me.
And
You
like
know,
literally
and
my
then
response
you-
to
yeah.
that here was what I told them.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be good for anybody, I think.
Yeah.
Even if I was a vegetarian, not me, someone else, watching me promote it, and then you went on my social
Yeah,
site, you'd
and
be like,
I would watch
this guy's
it.
butchering a pig right now. Like, what's going on? Like, and it would just be like, what's going on? This doesn't make any sense. And I understand what their strategy was from a PR perspective. Their strategy was, how can we we've
The
sold
person who doesn't normally
Sure.
have it, like that's also
That-
smart marketing to
Totally.
get someone to do that.
but it's just
And the values and beliefs, like that all kind of plays a role. Yeah.
There's a question.
All right, let's talk about money.
Are you still gonna eat it?
There's a question.
Oh, there's a question.
There's a question.
Good eye.
Well, like withhold information? Oh, I don't work for those businesses, but that's the gut check that I think Matt's talking about. Like, you have to have very transparent conversations, transparent contracts, transparent briefs, ask questions, know what you're getting into. And if you truly, and your intuition is saying, okay, I don't think this is the right situation and information is being withheld, then don't go into that situation. I mean, that to me is just not smart in today's day and age with the type of content and authenticity
You'll
and
get called out,
transparency.
like-
I
Yeah.
was just saying, you're gonna
So,
get canceled and called
Yeah,
out.
that's not the right way. So these brands that are doing that, I hope they're gonna watch whatever is being recorded and learn from this, because it's just not the way to go about it. But when you run into those situations, I think you did that. That's a perfect example, right? It just didn't, it didn't match, so you don't move through it. But I that's a very dishonest way of marketing a product, I think, today. Yeah.
I don't know, like it is their job to make money, so I guess we are selling products, whether it's us or them or by virtue of it. Like the ethics comes down to the reason and the purpose and the why, the questions. Like that's the ethics of it, right? Like I've been in scenarios where I wasn't sure about the ethics of a product, because products don't really have an identity. It's the people that are behind it that give it the identity. So then all of a sudden you meet the people, you're like, oh no, you are the devil. I wasn't sure, but now I'm convinced you are the devil. And I just don't think it makes sense. But then there's other things where you're kind of on, there'll be certain projects where your own ethics are put into question. And sometimes you have to draw a line or stand for something. And there's something noble about that and terrifying about that, because not everyone's going to agree with you. Like there's been times where, I think now more than ever, we are a very divided group of humanity. And we have people on one end of the spectrum and the other end of the spectrum. And the middle is kind of like getting lost. And even just saying this out loud, I'm afraid, because I might get canceled in this room. So it's like, I think you have to just be, if you're going to put yourself out there, whether you are the brand or the person representing the brand, you have to be also cognizant of the fact that you might get called out on something. And you have to be, at least have conviction, to your point, conviction in your response. Otherwise, you just look like you did it for a paycheck, which is, I would assume, what you mean by ethics.
And that's whether you're the brand itself, like as like a brand pushing their own, whether you're an agency,
Sure.
whether you're an influencer, like that's like across the board kind of the decisions that people make as they push something out there or sell
Totally.
something.
Like I do a lot of work with McDonald's, and people are like, "There's no way he actually." I love McDonald's, by the way. I love McDonald's. If you ever watch my stories, I invented the sausage egg McMuffin with Big Mac sauce. It's incredible. It's incredible.
That's going to be
I
your next
invented that.
mukbang.
But
Next one.
yeah.
Next one.
But I have a thing around that, because obviously McDonald's has a lot of preconceived notions. So for every McDonald's I work with, I ensure that I work with a local charity or I work with a local small business because it allows you to offset some of those things.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the money. What do you do? And I know this has happened. What do you do when brands are like, can I pay you in kind? Like, how about I give you some spaghetti sauce and that you take that as payment, and then you call the bank, be like, will you take spaghetti sauce for my mortgage this month? Like, how do you deal with that?
I'll take it. It's a bit of a dance. It's definitely a bit of a dance. I'd say early in my career, I was more willing to do that sort of thing, to build relationships. And that's what you do when you are new in this space and you're trying to build relationships with brands and PR companies. That's something you're willing to try out or sample or share your opinion on and whatnot. And then I think like as time has progressed and depending on the ask, the scope, all of it, it kind of, you can you make your judgment like that. It's kind of like an ethics thing as well. Like if there's a brand that you're dying to work with because it's authentic to you and they say don't have a lot of money for this campaign, then you might accept a little bit less because that's somewhere that you want to be represented by, or you want that association with that brand or that status, let's just say, or dollar, non-dollar. Like you want the actual product itself to try out and use. I think it's like a bit of a game and a dance. And to be honest, that's why I don't have an agent. A lot of people have asked me, like, Nicole, why don't you have representation? And I have trust issues. And that's my biggest fear, right?
Nicole's trust issues.
Right? But it's because it's really hard, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this, to find good people to represent you, to make those calls also, because typically a pitch would go to an agent first, or it would be forwarded to an agent, and then they would make the call. Oh, do I involve the influencer in this, or do I ask, even though it's, say, you call it in kind. If it's in kind, like it's right off, like some agents make that call right away. If it's in kind, off the table, where then it never even comes to the influencer or the personality to be like, but I'm dying to work with them. Like I'll still do it.
Sure.
So it's like playing that game, but also having very transparent conversations with whoever's representing you, and even with yourself, of asking, where's this going to get me? How is this, what am I looking to get out of this? I think for me anyway, that's the decision process.
Very cut and dry for me. I, as a small business owner for the last decade and a half, I will do it for small businesses if I believe in the thing. But if you're a large corporation and you're all getting paid, you better pay as well, because it's like, to your point, you can't, you have salaries, you have expenses, you have this, you have that, and you're like, but I got a free napkin. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
Like if they're asking you to do a whole video, I think that's your time and effort too, where you deserve to be compensated.
For sure. I guess I'm saying I'm more willing to give up that for a small business, because I've been there as well, where I'm like, please, like, just for the love of God, walk into my restaurant, sit here, and I will give you dinner. Just, so that part I get. But again, the flip side is if it's a large company, no, there has to be a process. And like, honestly, I've now grouped it into 4 very simple like buckets. It's got to bring joy, or it has to bring money. It can bring both, but it can never bring neither. And that's it. That's literally how I look at every project.
That's a good one.
Right? Not bad.
I think as an agency, where normally, everybody was talking about earned content in kind all the time.
Free stuff to people all the time.
We do, and now we just gift. It's like it will find its organic audience. Like I used a press-on nail example. I'm not going to send it to anybody who loves going to the salon. That would have made it into their content, So we're gonna try to curate that list to who we think is going to like the product, and then eventually, what we're trying to see is who's going to become the best ambassadors. So you see who's consistently talking about it. One girl loved her press-on so much she was showing that it was on sale at Shoppers Drug Mart, and that led to a paid campaign because we sent her the product. She loved it so much. We're like, okay, she's going to be a great ambassador for this. It was so organic. Right? But at Langton, I like doing things from a community perspective. So like next week we're doing like a cafe takeover, right? And I'm like, for anybody who buys, it's a Black owned business, a woman owned business, and I want to support those. And I said, why don't we give away a free bag of beauty product for every coffee that gets purchased at her cafe? It's another way to gift and sample and give back, gift, sample, give back, get something for the holiday season, and then everybody wins, you know? And then if people want to share it on their social feeds, they do, but it amplifies the opportunity and it gives purpose and creates impact somewhere, right? And I find that in kind can become very transactional. You know, like
There's expectations.
there's
sometimes.
expectations everywhere, you know?
Well, I gave you this, and it's like, well, I didn't
Yeah.
see any results. It's like, okay, I didn't know that was
And then it
a
becomes-
contract without actually
Yeah.
even anything, right?
And then it becomes difficult to manage a relationship, right? It's like being with your partner, you know, at some point there's a compromise.
Love it. So here, I'm
Yeah.
going to challenge you on this because, okay, this is so I was gifted a Peloton for about 8 months because I'm into fitness. I like to
Only
run.
8
I like to
months?
work out. 8 months. Free
They took it
membership,
back?
free tread.
They took
Okay. No. So wait. So it was like, we want you to authentically like try you work out, try this and let us know your thoughts. You don't have to post about it. We just want to know your thoughts. This is when the tread had first come out. I said, no problem. I was genuinely posting about it because I freaking loved it. And so much so that I actually bought a new one because I loved it. And that was like, but I probably wouldn't have done that if they didn't actually like give it
Sure.
to me. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
It's,
Like,
I think
so
it's case by case for
right. For
you
me,
know.
it was like, I want to use this. So this is benefiting me.
But
in this way.
I think, Rachel, you're asking the question because there's a lot of brands out there taking advantage of creators
1,000%.
with the in-kind, right? So I think these
not getting
situations
anything
where
out of
they're
it.
so
Yeah.
organic make sense.
I had the opposite of the
Yeah.
Peloton where a knife company sent me a knife. And let's be honest, I use knives every day. So they knew that it was going to somehow make its way into content.
Mm.
But even if I didn't, and then they started like sharing it, and then they started like promoting the share. And I was like, now you're getting a little dicey, guys. Like,
They're like
and-
boosting it.
they're like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and the funny thing was the video that the junior PR person, it wasn't even their knife. It was another knife. And I'm like, now you just look stupid because you picked the wrong knife out of the wrong. So anyways, I just think it can go in both directions.
Yeah.
It's case by case. Yeah.
Izzy, how do you deal with your PR haul? Because you get some impressive stacks. Like I saw your video where you're like, I've been away for 3 weeks, and it was like a whole room of boxes.
Yeah, that took like 3 hours to bring from downstairs to the room, and then to actually cut up all those boxes took another 3 hours. But besides that, yeah, it's crazy. I used to like dream of receiving boxes like that 2 years ago, and now that I'm actually getting it, it's like, whoa. But I do a lot of giveaways. Friends, family, neighbors. And I give a lot away to like my fans and my followers that are obviously watching me. Yeah, lots of giveaways. I tend to do one a month at least to the followers.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I like that. I know we were already a bit over. Do we have time for like just a couple of questions from the audience? Are you guys cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like I drank this whole bottle of water.
So yeah.
I think the reason why people are attracted to founders and entrepreneurs is because it's like the rising from the ashes, the phoenix. You know, there's a story, there's a start, there's a journey, sometimes there's an end, and then there's a start all over again. It's like that fairy tale, right? And they're being very raw and real about what they're going through in that experience. And so people are gravitating towards that very organic, genuine, authentic content. I think that's what it is. You don't have to be a founder or start a brand. I think if you just start sharing tidbits of your life and you connect it to the content you're creating and why you're creating that content and, you know, show the behind the scenes of the shoot, people love that, you know, and I think that's what it is. I just think founders just have seemed to find their way to the top of the pile right now because they're sharing that, because they have a social account to do that with, right? Nobody was talking about it before Instagram was there. They were all just suffering. We were all just suffering in silence, you know? But now we're putting it out there, and then there's a community to be like, you know what, this happened to me. And they might not be an entrepreneur, but there's an exchange and there's a dialogue. So I think every content creator can do a little bit of that, you know? I just want to know more of your life. And that sometimes that inspires me. Sometimes we do an extra gift. Oh my gosh, she's going through something. Let's give her this. Or, maybe she'll appreciate this. There's so much friendship and energy that can be fostered online that can lead to great things. Yeah.
Following something you're particularly hoping or granting, like this particular looks to be. How do you promote a competitor when you have like you said, okay, the serum is working for me, and then like 2 weeks later you're promoting a different serum. So from like an audience perspective, I'm just like, what am I supposed to believe in, or like what actually was promoting?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I like to, because I do a lot of skincare and I do a lot of serums, lots of moisturizers, a lot of the same products. So I actually really like that question. I like to talk about different things that I see in different serums. Say I'm promoting a serum one week. First of all, I like to try out the serum before I like to promote it, just for like 3 weeks, see what I really notice out of it. And then I will basically base my video around that main thing that I've seen from it. And then the next serum, kind of same thing. I'm not gonna talk about like what I saw in that previous serum. Does that make sense? I'm gonna test that out and see what I can find that's either like better. And I'll even say it in the video too sometimes. I'll be like, I used a serum last week, this one, way better. I've seen such an improvement in my dark spots, things like that. So I like to test it out, like I said before, and just see what differences I find in each product instead of just being like a broken record and kind of saying like, oh, this like healed my dark spots. And then again, oh, hey, this did the same thing as last week. But yeah, I hope that answered.
That is a really good way to approach it though, because
Look for
I will
something
tell
else.
you, when we're suggesting certain influencers, brands will be like, but they just promoted 2 competitors
I
3
was
days
gonna say, there's
apart.
also non-competes that
Yeah.
people sign as well
Yeah.
for a certain
Contract
amount
in
of
place, yeah.
time.
I think, if you're going to talk about, let's say, a shampoo, but you're not talking about a new shampoo every day. We know you're not washing your hair every day, right? Like it's every couple of days. So
Long shampoo.
I think that the disingenuous
Yeah.
nature of it can be seen pretty easily. So I think it's, I love the way you're approaching it, because my brands would absolutely love that. I want to try it first. There's, you're going to have 10 different serums. Like, and if you're showing that, then people will believe it,
Humans are also allowed to change their mind too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's times where I've been like, this is great butter, and then I'm like, ooh, this is a much better butter.
Yeah.
And so I think you're allowed to also be like, yeah, that was great. Now this is a
better.
little better.
But it's all in the way
Butter
you do it
or
too.
better?
Like that.
Both. I like grass-fed butter. It's great. I love grass-fed butter now. Like I'm all into it.
I think it's all about how you speak about the product. Like if everything's the best new shampoo, like at some point you're gonna lose that credibility
Sure.
with the audience somewhere, right?
It can't always be the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like opening up and just being real about it. Like don't be concerned about losing a contract or not getting a brand. Like the right ones will come.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll go Manoj and then Christy.
So, as a content creators, we initially deal with many people, and sometimes people will come and tell us, like, okay, do this for free, we'll give you more work later. And then we do that for them, and right away, since they have committed to pay later, then and there they say, like, we don't like your work. But after we see how work in their field. So, did you face those incidents, and how did you deal with those kind of things?
I mean, that's very sketchy.
That's
Yeah. Just gonna throw that out there.
That's Slim Shady.
I think it's super important, whether it's like a legally binding contract or not, like having checks and balances with whoever is approaching you to do work. I think, be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I will do this one, willy nilly, but let's have a little bit of an agreement going forward. And if you're going to require some of my time and energy and whatever the content I'm creating, then yeah, like let's talk about how this is mutually beneficial for both people. You have to hold everyone accountable. I think that's also, like, no offense, like also your own responsibility, right? Like you can only be like, well, I didn't know, like for so long. Like at some point you have to be like, no, like let's treat this like a business, because this also is a business, and having accountability and checks and balances, I think a huge part of that.
I think also if you are like agreeing to do a job, I think it's important, to be clear about your own work and what that looks like. Like, hey, this is what I do, whether it's a reel or a resume of some sort of like proof of your work, just so that they're not saying, oh, we don't like that. It's like, no, you knew that that's how I did things and that was my quality of work and that's how I tell these stories so that you have that, you know, as a proof of who you are and your quality of work.
I think when you're, you know, it's so unfortunate because when, you know, you're gonna meet people you don't want to work with, you're gonna run into situations like this, but you learn from it, you know, and you're gonna be able to manage your content moving forward, and you'll value your content too, right? You know, you gotta kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince, but you know, this is one of those situations. But I think I highly suggest you don't do anything for any brand without a contract. Even if it's in kind or there's an exchange or a relationship, it holds all parties accountable and it gives you some ground to stand on. But I think, you know, it could be a basic one page. We've got a lot of one pagers, you know, just some agreement that allows you to enter into something that I think is fair.
And I agree. And to that point, if you have a call about something, I always send a follow-up email saying, great, to recap our call, this is all the things that because that's the other thing too, like, oh, we put it in a call, no, and it just doesn't exist anymore. So I'm a big fan of like the recap and where do we go from?
Turn on the AI notes.
Yeah,
Zoom. It helps
it's
so
so
much.
good.
Yeah.
I always end every call with, okay, where do we go from here? And, you know, I think that's a great way to just be like, we're going to map out the next steps here. Not just because like it's for both of you. You don't want to over or under deliver. You want to meet the expectations and be like, this is exactly what the project is.
Hello? Okay. I feel like also what Daniel was saying before, like you're not gonna know unless you say yes to it. Like there's multiple like opportunities that like brands will say that, and you're a new creator, so you're not gonna know any better than to say yes. Like I would say yes as well. So it's like you're gonna have to go through those a little bit and then kind of learn, okay, so this is how they work. Like this is a brand that I would either not work with again or they're taking advantage of my time and my content, and I value myself and my work way more than that now, and I'm gonna start saying no to things. But you kind of have to like go through that a little bit in the beginning to learn that. Does that make sense?
No is a big part of learning, right? Like I can speak for myself. I used to say yes to literally everything, and not
Same.
just content, like all the work, all the time.
Same.
I think being able to say no is a great. It's a great way to prove to yourself that you've learned a little bit along the way.
It's so hard though.
I was just
Like
gonna
it's
say
so
that.
hard.
I was
Like
please say it. I don't want to
I'm
get one.
so-
I'm so bad at saying no. I'm
But
so bad.
you know what? You can find a way to do it. You just find like
Yeah.
work on declining.
Mhm.
That's how I had to say it.
Yeah.
It was so hard because you want to try to
No,
help
I
everybody.
agree.
You want to work with everybody,
Yeah.
and then you get burned, and then you're just so bitter and miserable. You know what I'm saying? But then it happens again and again. So I think if you just work on declining, then you'll find a way to say it that's true to who you are. Because sometimes I agree with you. You have to because that's how you set value and you have
Totally.
to set boundaries and standards for
I'm also a
yourself.
hypocrite too, by the way. Like, and to be fair, I'm going to call her and she's going to hate me for it. But so Amy, who works here for me, we have a great little relationship where I'm the nice guy, she says no for me, and it's amazing because
That's
that
the
way
secret.
that's the secret. Because because you also don't want to come off as an ass. Be like, you don't want anyone to be like, oh, fuck Nicole, man, like she is. You know.
Yeah.
So to be able to, and so you were talking about agent. Like I love my agent personally. I think I have the best agent on the planet. And she has no problem saying no for me. And it's like the only time I'll really do it if I feel like slighted by the group. But otherwise, it's just like, oh, did it not work out? I didn't know. Oh, next time. And then.
Okay, Christy?
showing up online because obviously when you're in the early stages of building a brand, building your business, you have to be consistent. You have to be showing up. You have to be giving parts of yourself to your audience, to your community. And I think the thing that I've struggled with is like just being exhausted, being fatigued, like just being energetically and emotionally drained. Like, so how do you sort of navigate those, I guess, in your career in building your brand and your platform? And then secondary to that, it's like how do you pivot? Like there's a point in your, I guess, building your persona or your brand online where it's like this is not feeling aligned with me anymore, but like making that decision to then pivot away from something.
I'll jump in. So I think like what's great at first off, you're wearing a LA Dodgers hat. I don't know what's going on here. No. Oh my God, that's even worse.
You're
That's
sharing,
even
right?
worse. I was expecting you to be like, I'm the biggest.
For the color and the style, not for the team.
Oh my God, I was like hoping you were gonna say like, oh, I love the Dodgers. Like, no. Anyways, I'll give you your answer now. So listen, first I would say focus on whatever your core business is first and foremost. So if you were starting a small business, that should be your number one priority because it takes a lot of energy to start a small business, and it will take when your friends are going out and you're not, and when your friends are getting a paycheck and you're not, and when your friends are sleeping and you're not, your small business is essentially a living, breathing thing that you need to foster. The content, the best part about that is the content can show that piece because there's a lot of people that are feeling and experiencing that as a small business owner. So you might as well showcase it if you feel comfortable enough doing it because a lot of people will relate to that. And you'd be surprised at how the two kind of work together. But if you're saying like, I need to pick one, focus on the business first because that is essentially what you're trying to grow. Unless the content is a part of the business, and it probably will be at some point. I don't know too many businesses that aren't some shape or form e-commerce related. So there's a way to tie it all in, but pick a like I was saying earlier, there's a driver and a passenger. Pick which one is the right one. But you'd be surprised how many people will connect with the realness of struggle because like listen, it's right? Like,
yeah. But that's people will be like, haha, me too. Like that's a real thing. But I also think is like creating boundaries for yourself, like knowing your own mental health and how much you can handle and take, because it is all consuming from the business and social media just in general and sharing all of that. That maybe you say, okay, I'm gonna shoot content 2 days a week, and that's all that I'm gonna do. Or I'm gonna shut my phone off at 8 p.m. and I'm not going to look at anything else. And I'm going to make it like that's like make rules for yourself that you can stick to for your own mental health that seem, digestible and attainable because then there's nothing worse than choosing something that you're like, I can't do it. It's like start small with a little thing that you still feel good, like maybe you're prioritizing, but you're still doing a little bit, but also limiting, and knowing yourself how much you can handle. Because the last thing you'd want is to burn out, and that wouldn't be good for anybody.
There was a question earlier about founders showing up on social, and it's when you share those moments of vulnerability, you'd be surprised to see the kind of support that comes from that. But I think it's okay to give yourself breaks too. Like I don't know, I have a very different relationship with social media. I think because I have to do so much of it for brands, like I'm okay with not posting. And then when I show up, I'll come back, and there'll be like a great post. So I know how to take my breaks. I know how to get help if I need to keep the content flowing, but in a very genuine way. But it's okay to not post all the time. I think the pressure comes from when you feel like you've got to post every day, and sometimes it's self-inflicted pressure and we don't even realize it.
Most of the time,
So-and-so's doing it, their business is doing it, how are they doing it? I need to be doing it too, and that's like the worst thing for your brain.
Like Nicole's not sitting at home being like, I can't believe Matt hasn't posted another burger video this week. Like things happen in your life. Like I've been waiting, and like I'll like quite genuinely, like I'm dealing with something in my personal life which has physically taken me away from camera time. And it's way more of a priority. And it's like, I think it's very normal. And it's like, I could be like, hey, thing that I'm dealing with, like, why don't we put a camera on it? But it's not for other people. It's for me. And I think you need to be able to like check yourself sometimes and be like, what's the right time? And it's, if you feel like you're beating yourself up for not, showcasing every minute of every day, then, maybe do a little bit of like reflection, like why does it matter to me so much right now? Because like focus on the thing that is the top priority. The content will be there, and guess what? When you come back to it, no one will really notice, and it'll be like it's fine. Like you took a couple months off because you were slammed with trying to start something. That's admirable.
I will say sometimes the captions really do help, like so you get away from the pressure of having to be on camera all the time, because some people feel like they always have to have a story or always be recording themselves. Sometimes just reflecting into a post helps me. And you see a lot of those carousels go,
Or
you know,
or text on
yeah.
carousel posts.
And sometimes it's the avenue in which you want to, you know, because now everybody is feeling the pressure of being there, visible consistently. But your words make you visible too, right? Your POV makes you visible, not just being on camera.
For sure.
Yeah.
I want to be cognizant of your time because we've already gone a half hour early or half hour later, sorry. But you guys will be roaming around. Maybe they can ask you questions. First of all, I want everybody to give a round of applause for our great panelists. I want to thank you all for coming. I want a big thank you to the lifestyle media students who really put this all together.
Yes. Well done.
All these beautiful decorations you're seeing were created from one of my students named Krypton. Is he in this room? Oh, so amazing. I also want to thank Laura Kittner. She's our Associate Dean. And, you know, it's a pretty tricky time right now for colleges in Ontario. And, you know, as everything sort of seems to be shrinking and fading away, we came to her and said, hey, Laura, let's just host a fun event. And she was like, okay, let's do it. I also could not have done this without Mike Countryman. He is the coordinator of lifestyle media and journalism as well. And I just had to turn to him and say, hey, I have an idea. And he said, okay, let's do it. And he didn't even know the idea, but he just was like, he just rolled with it, which I thought was amazing. I could not have done this without his help and his organization and his humor and his kindness. So thank you, Mike. I also want to thank Centennial. I didn't try it, so I don't know, maybe you guys did. The food came from Centennial College Culinary Program, and of course the broadcasting faculty and students who are live streaming this as we speak. And I've done all the stuff.
Did not know that.
There is a silent auction outside that will wrap up shortly. That is to benefit one of our previous lifestyle media students who unfortunately suffered a health setback. Her name is Mary, and I think she's here today, and I have not seen her in so long. Here's the thing with lifestyle media, and I tell, woo, Mary, yeah! In lifestyle media, I tell them at the beginning, by the end, we're going to be a little family. And they don't believe me. And they're like, oh, God, who is this woman? But at the end, we're all like hugging and it's tears and it's mostly mine, but that's fine. And when Mary fell ill and we did not hear from her right away, it was the conversations. What happened to Mary? Is Mary okay? Has anybody heard from Mary? And I was like, no, something must be wrong. Like, call it mother's intuition, whatever you want. But the conversations happened right away. And, you know, come June, when everybody was crossing the stage without Mary, that's when I turned to Mike and I said, hey, we have to do something. Let's just do it. And he just went with it. So I'm looking around this room and I see all these past lifestyle media students from years and years and years ago where I say, hey, I need you, and they stand up. So thank you for always coming. Thank you for always supporting us and the program and for supporting Mary. All of the proceeds from the silent auction go directly to Mary. How this is going to work, we will wrap up the silent auction shortly. I will look who has the best bid. So come on, people, get your wallets out. And then in order to receive what you've bid on, if you have the highest bid, I will just ask that you send an e-transfer to the email that we have printed. Just show that, hey, yeah, I paid, and then you're ready to go. Okay, so please, if you haven't checked out the silent auction, go check it out. We're gonna give it like 10 more minutes. So now, get shopping if you haven't. Okay, thank you so much for coming. And our panelists.
Sorry, no, it's like her.